Sloppy Scientist here. I wanted to make a quick video following up on the coattails of my last video entitled Water Glasses. That video, as I mentioned, didn't really have very good controls. It wasn't randomized. It wasn't even blinded. But the conclusions that I made in it were sort of they were somewhat provocative. So I wanted to do a quick little video today. It's more of a segue into a larger, more intensive study into the effects that a container might have on the flavor of water. So go ahead and watch that video. I'll link it in the description so you can get the backstory here. What I want to do today is actually check and see if I can do a blinded experiment. Because as you might imagine, if you fill a glass up with water, let it sit overnight, and then drink out of it, and compare that glass with other glasses, you kind of know what you're drinking out of. So it sort of gives away it's not blinded. You might have some kind of subconscious knowledge of what you're drinking out of, and that might inform your conclusions. And that's called, in order to get around this, scientists use this methodology called blinding. And so I'd like to blind this experiment, except it's kind of difficult, because how do you not know what you're drinking out of? It's right next to your face. In fact, your lips are touching it. How do you not know without, being like on drugs or something? I'm not going to start doing drugs and doing experiments. So what I came up with is I'm going to take these sort of like party cups as intermediate flasks, let's call them. And after I season the water, the next day I'm going to put the water from each of those separate material glasses, like crystal, plastic, metal, blah, 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 into the intermediate flask. And that flask I'm going to drink out of. Now, if I can discern the taste of the overnight material from the intermediate flask, then this experiment might actually have legs. Like, I could actually do the experiment in a more rigorous way. So this is just means I can blind it. Because then I can have some person other than myself randomize the intermediate flasks. Okay, so that's two criteria of a good science that I can check off the list: randomization and blinding. In order to have a good experiment, you have to have three things: randomization, blinded, and also you need controls. So what would my controls be? And forget those fucking controls. We don't need controls. This is the Sloppy Scientist. All we need is randomization and blinding. Fuck the controls. We don't need those controls. Get those controls out of here. might need some controls. So basically that's a big part of doing good science, is to be able to blind your experiment. So you don't know what it is that you are going to observe or whatever. Anyway, not that I'm trying to do good science on this channel, but I think it would be worth a several part YouTube video to give this the old college try and see if I can make this into something that would be a little bit more believable to at least, my YouTube audience. And who knows, if maybe this could be something that could be written up in the journal Science or Nature. Who knows? So, I noticed a flaw in my last video that I mentioned, actually, during it. I did not make sure to account for the possibility that I could myself be very impressionable and could note subconsciously what vessel I'm drinking out of, and that could somehow ipso facto affect my own taste experience. And the thing I thought to do is to set up the experiment the same way, put water in different containers made of different materials. The only difference now is I've got water in a cup. And I found out this material is called something, but I already forgot what it's called. I called it porcelain before. Someone called it ceramic. Ceramic coffee cup. Metal shaker, plastic, food grade, I don't know, PVC or something, PVE. Now I added this solo cup. I think it's wax coated paper. No, it's not wax coated. I was hoping to get wax coated, but all I could find was paper. Oop, almost spilled it there. Glass as before, and last but not least, crystal. Cheers. So the thing that I'm doing today is just a very quick test to see if I can move my treated water into an intermediate cup. This is like I would call an airplane cup. It's PETE #1 solo cups. Really all these are serving as is a very quick way to get the water that has been treated to my mouth. Today I'm just going to very quickly give each of my treated waters its own airplane cup and just move the waters into the airplane cup and then drink from the airplane cup this time. I'm just going to see if the water that's been flavored overnight in each cup can reach my mouth, or if it's just my imagination. If no, it all tastes the same once I put it in the airplane cups, then pretty confident it's just I'm a very impressionable lad, and when I drink out of these different containers, my imagination runs wild, and I'm I'm biasing my experiment. If yes, on the other hand, and the tastes of the different treated waters continue on into the solo cups, now we've got something interesting, because now we can truly blind this experiment and do it on multiple individuals. Because if all the waters are in the same style of cup, then I can have a helper do a little shell game and then give me the cups where they know what treated sample it is, but I don't. And if I can still get the answer correct, what treatment each sample received, then that means this experiment's blinded because I didn't know going into it, and my conclusions, if I'm correct still about my conclusions, then, well, this is a truly interesting phenomenon, because that means setting water in a container overnight will impart a flavor onto that water dependent on the container, and which remains with the water even after you transfer the water to a new container. Something. And so that's cool. So let's just, real quick, I'm going to take the water from the mug. So let's just taste this water, make sure it has the same effect as last time. Actually, let's taste the control water from the crystal first. Smooth. Tastes like tap water, I guess. Okay, now let's do the positive control for flavor directly from the cup. That's super. Makes my mouth go up. Wow. Woo. Terrible. Terrible. Gritty, grimy coconuts. So, gritty, grimy, all that. Alright, so let's just see if my controls transfer to. We'll get each one its individual solo cup. Okay, tastes normal. Now let's taste the cup here. Yeah, still doing it. Yep, it's doing it. A little different today, actually, than the last time. It is gritty, certainly, but like I can really smell it. I'm getting an olfactory response today. Let's try the metallic. The last time I described this around my tongue and like lips, like an electric feeling. Let's see. Yep, bottom of my tongue. Pretty mild though. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to detect that in a blinded fashion.
Let's go back to the normal crystal control. It's important for me not to let them sit in the intermediate containers, I think, because that would throw off my results. This is crystal. There's not really any off-putting fragrance to this. Alright, so let's try the paper cup. Yeah. A little bit like paper. Tastes like water that was in a paper cup that's now in a plastic airplane cup that I'm drinking now. Do the plastic one. I can tell you probably still don't believe me. The plastic one is tough. That's going to be tough too. Because it's just very... Plastic one is almost no flavor. Let's try the glass. Gritty. I'll be able to check that, no problem. Alright, so in summary, the ceramic and the glass gave a persisting flavor quality to the water, which I was able to detect in an intermediate container. Furthermore, I think in a blinded experiment I would also be able to detect the metallic container water and possibly the solo cup water. But the crystal and the plastic will be somewhat hard to detect in the main experiment just because there's like basically no new flavors imparted onto the liquid. In that way I might be able to detect it because it's like a negative control. So what I might do is I might remove plastic from the blinding experiment and just go with the glass, so the glass, metallic shaker, ceramic cup, paper cup, and crystal cups. So I'll have 5 cups in the blinded experiment. Okay, that's something that I needed to know in order to create an experimental design which will allow me to blind this experiment and make us very confident that water flavors can actually persist through time even after they leave the container that they've been sitting in. Which people, I think this is really interesting, and I don't know why more people don't talk about it. So as you can see, the experiment actually did work. The intermediate flasks were able to transmute the flavor of the overnight
glass flavor or water receptacle flavor into my mouth, for lack of a better phrasing. And so therefore this experiment actually can be blinded. And so what I'm going to do next is enlist the aid of some friends, and they're actually going to try to randomize this for me, and we're going to blind it, and let's see if I can actually determine what containers actually this water was sitting in overnight. I think that will be kind of cool. I think that would be kind of cool, I haven't seen much about that, but, the palate, it's a powerful thing. And, let's just see what happens. Again, I've only got 5 subscribers. Why not make it 6? That could be you, lucky number 6. Go for it, man. I believe in you. Have a good one.